And we're back with the chairman of the RNC, Reince Priebus. Mr. Chairman, on Friday, Donald Trump said he no longer believes that Barack Obama was born somewhere other than the United States. For 5 years, though, he spent a lot of time on this issue, and he now says that he's the one who was out there just trying to put this rumor to rest. Do you really believe that's what he was doing for 5 years?
Well, I think that it was something that got started in the 2008 presidential campaign. Whose fault it was, Hillary Clinton herself, her supporters, her interns, her staffers. Clearly, it was something that was circulating in 2008. I'm agreeing with you that he took it further. He took it further,
right?
And he brought it into the public debate even more so than what was brought in 2008. However, the point is, people are asking him about it. People weren't asking him about it for a long time, and he came out and said, listen, I was involved in trying to figure this out as well, and I've determined that the president was born in Hawaii, just like I've said for years. So this is not, like, for me, a mystery.
So there's also no evidence that Hillary Clinton herself had anything to do with this. There's some rumors that people on her staff, and there was one person who was caught spreading rumors about Barack Obama's religion, and they were fired.
People get convicted every single day with circumstantial evidence that is enough to tip the scale. And by the preponderance of evidence before us, Hillary Clinton or her campaign were definitely involved in this issue. So we can't keep saying it's not true. That's ridiculous.
But
I know you didn't, but there's enough media people out there claiming that that's not true, as if it's some fiction. It's not fiction, it's a truth.
But when you think about it, may be contributory, but Donald Trump spent the bulk of his time.
But he's not denying it.
No, I understand that, but I guess my point is
this. But she's denying it, and that's ridiculous.
My point, well, her former campaign manager said.
All right, so everyone around her is involved, but not her, so therefore she's
everyone around her is a little more than the evidence would support.
Her campaign deputy manager was apologizing on CNN 3 days ago for it.
But she said she fired the one person who brought it up immediately. There's a difference between firing a person immediately. And
what about Sid Blumenthal? Was he involved or not?
Well, let's assume that he was. So you have a person. So you have a person spreading rumors, and then you have somebody making a 5-year crusade, holding press conferences, and spending money. Here's my question to you, which is not to figure out the details anymore, but to ask you this question. Donald Trump said Republicans love this idea in 2011 when he talked about it, and congratulated himself for reinvigorating the investigation of it. The question is, did the nominee of the Republican Party use this issue as a political issue to rile up Republicans? And is this the kind of thing that gets Republicans excited? The question of whether the president was born in America.
I don't think
that was his assertion.
This is my opinion. Yeah. I don't think Donald Trump was thinking about 2016 and 2011. It was an issue that he was interested in. It was an issue that I believe, and I think the preponderance of evidence shows Hillary Clinton started it. And after getting this issue resolved, he proclaimed on Friday that he believed that the president was born in America, just like I have as chairman of the Republican Party, and I never believed that he wasn't born in the United States of America.
We'll have to hold it right there. We'll take a commercial break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Face the Nation. I'm John Dickerson. We continue with the chairman of the Republican Party, Reince Priebus. So we'll leave the previous issue. You once said that the way the Electoral College works, Democrats just have to be good. Republicans need to be nearly perfect. Is Donald Trump running a nearly perfect campaign?
Well, let me tell you something. I know this would be a fascinating year for everybody, and we all know that. But I have been, and I think people need to get outside this beltway and get on the road. If they were to see what I would see, I see one of the greatest ground game movements on the ground, meaning people coming to events, 20,000 in Middle Pennsylvania, 22,000 in Seattle. This is probably one of the biggest movements as far as people across this country in modern history. And so while everyone loves to analyze Donald Trump all day long, 24/7 on cable, I think people have to look at what the facts are. And we're tied today. As we sit here 51 days from the election, and we have a candidate that is capturing the electorate, America. It might not be capturing the pundits, but he's capturing America.
Is he capturing the reluctant Republicans, some of whom are public officials in the Republican Party, who are either in the never Trump or who are in the barely Trump category, which...
Well, I mean, some of the people who ran for president. I mean, but what you have to look at is where are we at with the voters. And where we're at with the voters is one of the last polls that I just saw, nearly 90% of Republicans. I think Mitt was about 91, 92. We need to do a couple more percentage points better, and we're doing that as we move forward. But look, people who agreed to support the nominee that took part in our process, they used tools from the RNC. They agreed to support the nominee. They took part in our process. We're a private party. We're not a public entity. Those people need to get on board. And if they're thinking they're going to run again someday, I think that we're going to evaluate the process of the nomination process, and I don't think it's going to be that easy for them.
Would the party itself penalize somebody who does not make good on the pledge that they made to support the party?
I think these are things that our party is going to look at in the process, and I think that people who gave us their word, used information from the RNC, should be on board. I mean, you want to take part in the process, sure.
Governor John Kasich. So if he wants to run again, seems like he might want to, he might be out of luck as far as the RNC goes.
Well, look, people in our party are talking about what we're going to do about this. I mean, there's a ballot access issue in South Carolina. In order to be on the ballot in South Carolina, you actually have to pledge your support to the nominee no matter who that person is. So what's the penalty for that? It's not a threat. It's just a question that we have a process in place. And if a private entity puts forward a process and has agreement with the participants in that process, and those participants don't follow through with the promises that they made in that process, what should a private party do about that if those same people come around in 4 or 8 years?
Sounds like a brush pack pitch, but let me ask you one last question. Donald Trump said at one point the debates were rigged because of the nights they were on. He's claimed the moderators are rigged. You have been a part of this process. Has the process been fair? Does it feel fair to you at this point?
Well, there are two parts of that. I mean, as far as our party is concerned, I think I've been straight up and fair the whole way through, and I think people have evaluated what we've done, and I think people understand that I think I played it straight down the middle from beginning to the end. I do think the media, especially in the cable 24/7 world, is totally obsessed with negative 6-minute segments on Donald Trump, no matter what it is. And I think that part of it is very unfair.
But the debate part so far, as far as the nights that's happening, who the moderators are, all that, it's all seems square to you? Or?
I think it's square. And I think people are ready to move forward and move on with this. And I think, that first debate is going to be probably one of the biggest events in the history of presidential politics.
All right. Mr. Chairman, thanks so much for being with us.
You bet.
And we'll be right back.